A well-run private Facebook group is like a social CRM. There's no easier way or more direct way to stay in front of people that know, like, and trust you than right now than a Facebook group.
So the question is this: how do most agents find the secrets to succeed in today's competitive real estate market, especially when the top agents are keeping those secrets to themselves? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Hi, I'm Aaron Amuchastegui, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. Real Estate Rockstars. Hey, this is Aaron Amuchastegui, and I'm back today. I get to interview Will Penney. You guys will probably recognize his name, especially those listeners that have been around for a long time. My last interview with Will was episode 891. Something that's really crazy is it was the last episode that we aired before the world got shut down. So it aired March 13th. The conversation we had back then was very different. We focused so much on kind of Zillow 5-star reviews. We're going to get into that today. Will runs a small team that does a ton of revenue up in Northeast Ohio, and excited to get in today to the new thing that he's doing to generate leads and how it can help all of you. Will, thanks for coming back on.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. This is one of my favorite podcasts, and it's I really appreciate you. So, really excited to get on here today because I think it'll be really helpful for realtors. One of the reasons that I listen to this podcast is I love hearing what other people are doing and what I can do to implement it into my business. So, since last year, a team of 5, we sold 217 homes in 2020. If you would have asked me back this time last year, I would have thought we would have gone out of business, but the real estate market did great. So, sold a bunch of homes last year, small team of 5. I own my own brokerage, have so for 20 years. We just had our 20th anniversary actually on February 5th. So last year, the biggest struggle we've had, most of our business is referrals. And that's the reason why I was on here last time, trying to talk about social proof. We have 557 Zillow reviews. But now I've been pushing more towards Google, and I'm happy to talk to you about that. But I was just banging my head against the wall last year trying to stay in people's heads because there's just so many third parties trying to take referral fees. It's really hard with TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and it goes on, trying to get through all of that so that our clients remember us. And that's been my number one focus in my whole career, is just making sure that our business is referral based, because I don't spend a bunch of money on lead generation. Yeah. And I think if realtors have a solid database of people who know, like, and trust them, and they focus on the fourth goal, which is to have them remember you, because they can know, like, and trust you, but if they don't remember you, it doesn't matter. So I was just really, really focusing on that. I started doing some research, and I found the private Facebook group. So do you want me to talk about that now? Is that okay?
Well, before we get into that, what was business? Let's catch everybody up on kind of what we did last time, and then, COVID. So Northeast Ohio, March hits, everything kind of shuts down and goes slow. What was business like those first few months afterward?
Right. So we picked our daughter up from Ohio University on March 8th. And on the way back, I was talking to a buddy of mine who sells about 100 homes a year. And we were basically figuring out what the heck is going to happen now. Can we close our deals? Well, our governor, like a lot of governors, made us essential. So we shut our office down, let everybody work from home. And really nothing changed. I mean, we were allowed to show homes. We stopped doing open houses. We were very, very cautious with masks and all of that. I think April we sold 26 houses. In fact, we did. We sold 26 houses in it.
It's so crazy. We had this like lull, and then it started going crazy. And now so there's hardly any inventory out there in most places. What's it like in Northeast Ohio?
Same. Our median days on market last year was 3 days. There's about 40% of the normal inventory. We're starting to see it thaw out a little, though. The whole inventory problem is due to COVID. You've got buyers that are working from home because of technology. You've got low interest rates that we'll never see again. And then you've got people that are either working from home so they can't show their house, or they've got their kids going to school from home so they can't show their house, or they're just scared of COVID, or they don't want the inconvenience. So I think that to me seems like it's really pent up, and the normal triggers that prompt a move are starting to outweigh their desire to just not have people in their homes. And we're starting to see a little bit more inventory hit compared to last year.
The last couple of weeks, we've had a little bit more success in kind of getting our offers accepted. We've started to get some more deals again. And so it feels like maybe it feels like it's softening a little bit for us too, but it could always be temporary. We have those different batches as they come in and out. Now, most of your business is through referrals. So would it be fair to say then you're going to be half listing agents, half listings, half buyers?
Absolutely. We're about 55 to 60% listings and 40% to 45% buyers.
Cool. So the biggest question we get lately, we've had several podcasts on this, is how to get your offer accepted when you're representing a buyer when there's 20 offers on a deal. So since you're on both sides, you can give both perspective of that. What advice would you give somebody out there right now they've written offer on their 19th house now for somebody, and they're like, do we just give up, or what are we doing wrong to get our offer accepted?
Well, obviously, that's a multifaceted question, and we deal with it every day. I mean, we had 3 offers over the weekend that didn't get accepted. I can't encourage my buyers to not do an inspection because I just don't want the backlash later. I call it the Bachelor analogy, that horrible show. Like, people they end up fighting for the rose, and that's why those relationships never work on that show, because becomes about competition to get the rose. And if people are fighting to get the house, they forget, did they really want that house? So there's only a few, escalation clauses, but everybody's doing that now. I think what really helps is having relationships with the local realtors. I mean, that's helping me because they know me. Getting my buyers to work with a local lender who does well, as opposed to some of the big box places like, well, I don't want to mention any names, but the big banks. They're harder to get deals closed with. So I think knowing the realtors and, there's only a couple ways. Take inspections out, but I just haven't been encouraging my agents to do that.
If the seller provides an inspection, would you waive inspections? Because we're on our listings, when we get offers, we get several people that waive inspections. And so it's hard to even look at the other ones, right?
Well, yeah. If you're the listing agent, it's not my problem. It's not my concern if you choose to waive your inspection. And that's a big deal because so many of these deals, back to my Bachelor analogy, once it cools off after the first stage of negotiations, well, now they get to the home inspection, and now they can really decide if they wanted that rose or not. And, and it seems like they ask for the world after the home inspection. And we run into that problem just like, tens of thousands of other realtors dealing in this market right now. So, if you're as the buyer agent, I'm encouraging them obviously to put down more earnest money. I'm encouraging them to, if they're putting down a large down payment, to maybe bridge the gap between cut appraisal and the sale price is a good one. But there's only so many. Agents are all trying to do the same thing. So then the escalation clause was good for about 10 minutes. But now when you've got 6 escalation clauses, where do you stop?
So your big thing is just relationships, because everyone's going to be doing the escalation clause. A lot of people are going to waive inspection contingencies. You just got to make sure they know you.
And I think if they get your buyer to work with a lender that other realtors know, I think that's important. Yeah. Get them to... here's one thing that I did that I just thought of it, and we have done this a lot. Put a clause in the purchase agreement that says that the buyer won't ask for any repairs that cost less than $1,000.
Okay.
So then the seller can look at it and go, okay, we don't think we've got any massive issues, but if we do, we can talk about it. But at least they're not going to come in here and walk away from any one thing that's under $1,000. And the buyer can stomach that because no one thing under $1,000 is going to bankrupt them. But on a contract, you're not waiving the inspection, but you are letting the seller know that we're not going to nickel and dime you.
Yeah. So if there's a broken toilet, if there's a broken toilet and a broken light and a broken anything, that's like 8 different items. They're all under $1,000. You're like, we're not going to ask for any of that. We're only, if there's a major roof or there's a major HVAC or there's a foundation issue, we'll talk. I think that's a great one. I have not heard that yet from any of the people that we've asked.
Yeah, so I've done that a lot, and I just didn't think of it until just now. So I'm glad I remembered. But that's actually a really good one.
Yeah, I love that. I think that there's a listener out there that's going to try that this week on their next offer. If they can't waive, if you're an agent out there that you're afraid to waive the inspection contingency, and we've heard a lot of people are, that could be another option to say, hey, we're gonna waive anything under $1,000 we'll still do our inspection if something major comes up. We're out. So very cool. So remind us again back to when you first started. You told us the key in getting the reviews, right? So you had 500 plus Zillow reviews. So just take a minute or two, give people kind of the Cliff Notes version of how to go get those reviews. They'll know if they want to go back and listen to 891 again.
So the bottom line is you got to change up your process. You have to communicate often. You have to set expectations. You have to make sure that your buyers and sellers are very clear on money and dates, the two things that can destroy a relationship, money and dates. If they think they're moving on one day and it's another day, and if they think they're getting or paying a certain amount of money or need a certain amount for down payment and it's higher, then you've got to be very clear on that. You've got to set expectations. And I tell my clients at the beginning of the relationship, listen, my business is a referral-based business. Most realtors spend their time, working through leads or looking for new business. I spend my time with my existing clients, but in return, I depend on you recommending me and you being a cheerleader for me in the future. And as long as I do a good job for you, would you be willing to give me a good review at the end? So I do that at the very beginning. And they always say, sure, but there's no point asking for reviews unless you know that you did a good job. And you can't just do a good job. You got to do a great job. And I've got a very black and white, direct drill sergeant personality, and I'm still able to do it. And I think the main thing is I don't make promises I can't keep. And I set expectations and I explain things well and I communicate often. If someone texts me, I text them back. It's not that hard. And I limit text to really benign things. I don't text offers. I don't text anything about repairs. That's a phone call. And I think a lot of the young agents they're afraid to use the phone. I was talking to somebody the other day, and it's a tool that you and I take for granted, but these younger agents, they're 20, maybe early 30s, they don't. So let me put this on Do Not Disturb. I forgot to do it. Oh, it's actually on Do Not Disturb. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Don't worry. The listeners out there didn't even see that come through. Will's a busy guy right now with probably some of his agents calling saying, how are we going to do this?
No, I don't know what that, I just didn't want to interrupt this podcast with you. But anyway, I'm big on communicating often, making sure I talk on the phone, explain things. I always discuss offers on the phone, not via text. I ask them for a referral. At the end, I call them. Hey, I check in periodically. Hey, am I doing okay? And they laugh and make a big deal out. I'm like, no, I just don't take anything for granted. So that's another one. I check in and I ask them, hey, we doing all right? And just to make sure everything is what they want. I ask them to give me a review, and then I text them the link. I'm not asking for Zillow reviews anymore. We all know it's a whole other discussion on what's happening with Zillow, but I'm not going to be left on the bow of the ship when Zillow abandons us completely and shuts down that agent finder and shuts down agent profiles, which I think I don't have anything other than my opinion, but I think that that's going to happen within 12 months.
Yeah. Will, a lot of time when we first talked, Zillow was a huge way you were getting business, but I super admire the fact that you've also started to pivot as the news has changed. You're like, okay, I'm going to use whatever is available to me at the time, but I'm going to make sure I'm not tied into one thing. The biggest thing you and I were communicating back and forth on social media about, for why we wanted to get you back on here, was kind of a new kind of version that you're doing on social media to try to take your sphere and improve your relationship and continue to get leads that way, in a way that is less tied to like the financial ads and the financial contribution, creating value and building that up. So why don't you tell everybody what that new system is, what your thinking is behind it, and then what you've done to continue to grow it this year?
Excellent. So what I'll do first, I'm going to explain what got me to that point. So as last year with people working from home, they're on their phones more because they don't have a boss telling them to get off of it. So a lot of people working from home are on social media more than they were. We had a email newsletter that just wasn't getting read. It was going out to 2,000 people and we'd get like 50 people open it. We have a snail mail newsletter. I think I get readership, but who knows? We can't do client events right now. We did a pie event on Thanksgiving where people stopped by and got a pie. We ordered them in advance, but that's very, it's not interacting much. We post stuff on Instagram. We post stuff on Facebook. I have a business page with 1,800 fans. We get like 3 likes on any post. So I started doing some digging to see what the heck is going on and what I need to do next so that I can stay in front of my people. So I found out that in 2018, Mark Zuckerberg came up with Facebook Zero. And what that was, they changed the algorithms on the business page so that your business posts on a business page do not show up on a personal feed. They just don't. And they only show up to about 1% of your fans on your page. So basically, it's a billboard that's facing away from the road unless you boost the post, right? So that wasn't working. On our
that's a business page. So business page that people have, it's not hitting people.
Well, no, it's a broadcast page. That's all it is. It's like a static business profile now. The only way that you can get any interaction from your fans is if you boost the post. So you got to pay $20-$30 per post. And so that gets expensive. Plus it's likes don't pay bills. Relationships do, right? Likes, I don't care how many likes I get if it doesn't translate into someone wanting to use us, work with us. So on the personal page, I see a lot of realtors posting on their personal pages. They really need to be careful because there's a lot of states have licensing laws that are specifically address you promoting yourself as a licensee on your personal page without mentioning your brokerage, right? So in Ohio, for example, if you post on your personal page that you're having an open house and you don't mention that you're with ABC Realty, that's a licensing law violation. So that's one reason not to do it. But the second reason is part of that algorithm change in 2018, they wanted to make sure that you were actually staying on the platform and they wanted you to have relationships. So he wanted to make Facebook about relationships. So he cleaned up the feed by not letting business posts float through because they want to get their own advertisers and they want you to pay for boosts on your business page. And they want you to advertise if you want to get in front of people. And then the algorithm basically said that they would determine who you have a real relationship with. So in the past, you might see 100, if you have 1,000 friends, you might see 100 posts in a day. That became repellent and people were actually getting off of Facebook because of it. Because they'd see political posts from people they don't like or bragging posts from people they don't like. It just enraged them and they'd get off the platform. So Facebook paid attention to that. And so their algorithm started determining who you have a real relationship with. So if I'm a friend of yours on Facebook and we interact with each other, then we're going to see each other's posts. But if I've got 1,000 Facebook friends or 800 Facebook friends or 5,000, I think is the maximum Facebook friends, if you're posting business stuff, you're only ever going to get the attention of maybe 50 of those because that's really who you have a relationship with. So anyway, what I did, I started doing some research on groups, private Facebook groups, because I'm a member of a couple of ultra running groups and some real estate groups. And I thought every time they make a post in that group, I'm going to see it. So I started doing some research and I realized that Facebook actually is encouraging groups. They're throwing all of their weight behind groups because they know that the average Facebook user stays on Facebook about 38 minutes. But if you're a member of a group, you're going to stay on about 28 minutes longer. So roughly an hour.
Real Estate Rockstars, this is a commercial break from our biggest podcast sponsor we have right now, Rent Ready. It can be fun getting a new real estate deal, but it can be tough managing your properties after the fact, especially if you're long distance investing or trying to manage multiple properties by yourself. That's why we're here to tell you about Rent Ready. Rent Ready is a property management software that not only makes it easier to manage all your real estate deals from one platform, but they also have the best customer service support in the biz. They're an all-in-one app that lets you easily manage properties, collect rent, list units, screen tenants, sign leases, all from your phone or computer. Imagine all of your real estate doors right in your pocket. How awesome is that? The best part is it's so affordable, one flat price for everything. Unlimited properties, tenants, and support with a real live human. And I have to add in there, that's a new business model that not a lot of people are doing. There's like this freemium model where people say, hey, you can try this, but as soon as you grow, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Or they kind of punish you when you get too many emails on your list or too many comments. They aren't going to punish you when you grow. They're not going to charge you more when you get 10, 20, 30 rentals. They're going to charge you the same when you have 2 or 3 as they will when you have 50 or 60. So you have a nice fixed cost, all software, all in one place. Check it out, RentRedi, RentRedi.com. And if that's not enough, RentRedi is giving our listeners a special code you can use to get a whole year of RentRedi for just $54. Use code ROCKSTAR50, that's Rockstar50, and sign up for RentRedi's annual plan at RentRedi.com. Again, RentRedi.com with code Rockstar50 to get RentRedi for only $54.
So I started a group in November. I started inviting, first what I did, I've got a team of 5. I invited all of them in. I told them to invite all of their friends and family to their group who wasn't a realtor. No realtors in our group. I then started telling them, and myself included, to start friend requesting clients, because 60% of adults in the United States are on Facebook, and about 70% of those are on Facebook daily. So I thought they're more than likely, most of our clients are going to be on Facebook already. And sure enough, they were. So we send them a friend request, and then we invite them into the group. Okay. So now, as of today, we've got about 640 members. These are 640 human beings that know, like, and trust us. And now we post there every day. I spent over 100 hours. I think I told you before, I go to Florida 2 months of the year. We go to Marco Island. And I go down there just for the warmth because it's freezing cold in Ohio. But then I also make some plans. Like last year, we bought a moving truck. We started to loan to our clients, and we started a staging company. This year, and I also got a new CRM. This year, I wanted to work on getting that Facebook group dialed in, because the more I read about it and the more I researched, a well-run private Facebook group is like a social CRM. There's no easier way or more direct way to stay in front of people that know, like, and trust you than a Facebook group, because it's the platform that they're on most of the day anyway. And Facebook encourages groups. So if you post in the group, everyone of your members is going to see it. And ours is called Penney Real Estate Friends and Family. And so I spent dozens of hours creating and looking up the best way to engage with people in a group and creating content to accommodate that. And then I started posting every day. And unlike our business page posts where we get like 2 or 3 likes and maybe a reach of 16 or 30 people, the reach now is 100% on most posts, meaning that 100% or more of the people in the members in the group are actually seeing our posts, meaning they stop and they look at it. They may not engage, but they'll at least see it. And it says Penney Real Estate Friends and Family. So that's an image that they see. And we're getting 30, 40, 50, 80 comments on our posts. So we've turned our page, our group, into a social CRM, and we're a client, like a daily client event. And we're engaging with those people every day because the content that I'm posting is so good.
So if somebody has a business, so it's kind of like business right now, business pages are out, right? So they have that, but they're static. If someone goes to your business page, they're going to see everything, but it's not going to hit their feed unless
Correct.
Somebody pays for an ad. Can somebody just go to Facebook and say, okay, this is a group now instead of a business page? Or do they have to start from scratch? Do you have to go start a group page and kind of proactively reach out to all of the people that were on the business page and get them to switch over?
Very good question. The answer is you have to start a group, because a group is a completely different product on Facebook. Okay. Facebook, in their own words, pages are for broadcasting, groups are for conversations. So that's why I started one. So in the group, you can actually link your business page, and you can invite friends from your personal page, and you can invite fans from your business page.
So if somebody goes and starts a group and they call it, Aaron's Real Estate Friends and Family, and it's in their area. Now they go reach out to their people. You said you're doing a ton of great content. What's the first 5 or 6 posts they should put in there for content, or what's the type of content you were doing that's getting everybody so excited?
The quickest way to have everyone jump out of your group is to post anything about real estate, such as, I just sold a house. I got 6 offers on this. Not to get off topic, but we are hurting ourselves as realtors by posting how quickly homes are selling. Real sellers are starting to believe us and think they can do it on their own. Yep. We got listed it, got 18 offers the first day and sold it for 30 grand over. Why do I need to pay you a commission to do if that's happening? So that's another conversation, but anyone listening to this, stop posting those kinds of posts, because all you're doing is training your people to not need you. So I put a welcome post on there first. I put a cover photo of my team. And then I said, this group is designed to engage with people that we know, our closest friends and family and past clients. It won't be real estate related. We're going to post content around recommending contractors, local things to do, the best restaurants, housing stuff. And everything I post is a question. So we do a weekly contest. I have a brain teaser once a week where we give away gift cards. I posted that welcome one. I have a welcome video. They have an announcement video. They allow you to do that. So everybody who comes in will hear you talking about or see you talking about the goal of the group. So example of a post would be like, some of them are silly and some of them aren't. Like some of the silly ones are name a song that starts with the letter of your first name that describes you, or name the last thing you did and put like a boss at the end. I mean, you would think that would be dumb. People love it. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Los Angeles, Boston, Massachusetts, or Seattle, Washington. If you're giving them fun, interesting, and relevant content that's low threat, you're not asking for anything from them, and that is what they respond to. But we don't just do that. We'll have like housing fashion tips. Like I did one that said green kitchen cabinets are top designers are saying green kitchen cabinets are back in. What do you think? Yay or nay? I think we had 70 comments to that. It's all about starting conversations and then responding to those people so that you can build bonds. They already know, like, and trust you. So you don't need to tell them you're a realtor. It's all about consistency, posting every day, 5 days a week, giving them good content, keeping it up, because the minute you stop posting, then your group will die.
So this is really the way that you're just having, essentially, it's the easiest way to have conversations with 600 of your past clients that are, if nothing else, just to keep you top of mind. So when they do need someone, when they want to refer somebody, anything like that, it's just reminding them that you're there and that you're a person. So it's kind of like, it's just about like keeping up with your friendships. It's going after your sphere without saying like, hey, do you have any referrals right now? It's just reminding them that you're there. And by providing value, they love to interact with you more. Remind us of your page again, because there's going to be some agents out there listening right now that are going to want to come see what you're doing to be able to replicate this in their own market. So how do they go find your group?
They won't be able to get in it because it's a private group. But it's a private group. So, but I can I can send you some samples of the content for you to show your users. I've spent dozens and dozens and dozens of hours coming up with the right content, and it's proven. I mean, we do a combination of stuff, around home design, floor plans, home offices, and then the funny, interesting games and stuff. Find like a Scrabble board, find 3 words in here, the first 3 words, and post them below. I think we had 70 comments. Yeah. And then my team just goes in and engages with them. I mean, it's phenomenal. And then what happens is, you figure I got 640 people in there and it's only 3.5 months old. We'll have 1,000 people in there. Here's what's happening now that we have 600 members. We have members posting every day, asking for trusted contractors, every day asking, where can I take my young kids to go? I mean, they're using our page now as a community page, which is phenomenal. So and every time, because Facebook loves groups, every time we post, every time someone else posts, every one of the members sees those posts. And it says Penney Real Estate Friends and Family. So they can't forget about us. So when they get off Facebook and they go out into the real world, according to the National Association of Realtors, the average person meets 3 people a year who move. So if I've got 640, and this isn't the only thing we're doing. I mean, I send out market updates via BombBomb to my past clients once a week. I've got 2,800 people in there. We have client events. We're doing one this year, come hell or high water. We're doing a client event. But this group, you think about it, they're on the platform already. You can engage with them live in real time, just like you're texting them. Just like when I send you a Facebook or a Instagram message, you see it and you respond. It's just like talking for the most part. So now when those people go out into the real world and they run into somebody looking to move, they're going to think of you. And there's nothing else you can do as a realtor or a mortgage person that will be that direct with the people that you want to work with, so that they see you and they engage with you on a daily basis. There's nothing else. Email, text. I mean, there's nothing else where you can engage on that level in front of that many people.
Yeah, I love it. So if you could send me some of those examples of questions, we'll get it put onto the Toolbox. And listeners, if you have not checked out the Toolbox, you go to hibandigital.com. One of the links at the top is Toolbox. And that's where all these guys that I interview, they kind of share with us some of their tools. They put the stuff in there where you guys can see. So maybe we'll put together an example of 5 or 10 posts or questions that you guys could put when you go start your page. I think what's really cool, it's cool to see how excited you are about this, Will. And also really, because it's obviously providing so much value to your people. Like you're getting to have all these different conversations where people are just excited to chat. I mean, it's the easiest way to have a conversation with 600 people. And now that the community is buying in too, right? Where they're now providing content, and now it's this big interactive thing. That's when I guess that's when it's truly providing value, and they actually don't need you guys to put the value on there. Somebody's going to ask a question and someone else is going to get there. That is the neatest part about Facebook community and Facebook groups. And what you said about their statistics on kind of why the business pages aren't doing what they used to, that makes a lot of sense. When you get to see what does Facebook want? They want people to be able to stay on there. You said part of what happened is during the election, everybody starts posting on such people would get on and then they would jump off. They'd see an ad or they'd see an argument or they'd see something and it would push them off. And Facebook doesn't want people to come on for a few minutes. Facebook wants people to stay on for a long time. And so groups is now kind of that way that people are interacting to stay top of mind. So I love what you're doing there. I love the idea before that you built so much with referrals and that you're jumping between it. But what's, as we're starting to wrap up the conversation, what are you doing next? What else are you doing out there for agents? Ways for people to get a hold of you when they have questions about this.
So did you say you want me to tell you other things that we're doing first?
Right. So if other agents, I think you're coaching some agents now on some of this stuff or.
And if it's all right, I'll tell you, I've got a company. The byproducts of what I've been doing with my group, I started it, and I've been doing this 33 years, right? So I look back over the things I've done. I'm able to go away for 2 months. I'm still married for 28 years. I got licensed when I was 19. I'm 52 now. I only sell houses. I don't manage a big company. I got a team of 5, our own little independent brokerage in a sea of Keller Williams and Remax and EXP. We are a small independent doing almost $50 million worth of sales. And we're adding value, and staying in touch with our clients, getting all I care about is having as many people as I possibly can, know, like, trust, remember me, and then having as many good reviews online as possible. If you can have a ton of good reviews, by the way, if you're in your local marketplace, go to Google local services and get verified. It doesn't cost anything, and they'll background check you, and you can then set up a budget and just run ads on Google. It's the number one platform. So I would encourage agents to do that if they can afford it, because then you'll show up at the top of Google, which I'm doing now. And I'm spending $1,000 a month on that. But now when someone searches our area, I show up at the top every time. And Google, I've gotten 4 or 5 pieces of business so far this year just from that. So what we did, because our group is doing so well, and it's unlike anything I've ever done. Think of anything you can do to get in front of a group of people. It would usually have to be face to face and cost you $3,000 to get in front of 600 people, or $4,000 or $5,000. I can stay in touch with them daily and give them the content. So what I did, because our content's doing so well, I actually reached out to a couple of my successful realtor friends and a couple of my successful mortgage people. I created a company called Social Orchard, SOCIALORCHARD.com. And we're actually packaging the content that we've used, and we're selling it to realtors. We're training them on how to set up the group. It's free. They can do that. We give them all the instructional videos on how to do it, the proper settings to have. And then we charge them a small amount of money. So I'm charging them for an individual agent, it's $89 a month. For a team agent, it's $249 a month. And then they can create a team with their whole, a group with their whole team, it's really great because then you can have a bunch of people engaging with each other, get your whole team under one group. And then I'm selling it to loan officers for $3.99, and I'm letting them then give that content to their realtor partners, having them create their own groups, then be endorsed in that group once a month. And I've gotten nothing but amazing feedback. I mean, one of my best friends is a top Keller Williams agent. He's got 36 agents on his team. He does $60 million a year in sales. He's already got 258 people in his group. And he sent me a testimonial video the other day just because he can't believe for $249 a month, he's got 258 people that he's talking to every day. There's just no tool that you can do it with. So I'm happy to help anyone. They can reach out to me. My email address is will@penneyrealestate.com, Penney realestate.com. Or you can find us on Instagram, Penney Real Estate. But you can send me an email. I'll respond. And if you want to look into signing up for our content, there's no contracts, and it's there's money back guarantee. I don't need this money. We already, we did $1.6 million in commissions last year. I'm just doing this because I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I could tell how excited you are. So I was going to ask you how they can get a hold of you. So now my kind of fire round question, just my last few questions. This has been great, Will. And the time has really flown by today, as it does every time we talk. So what was the number one way you survived 2020? So something that was the way that you guys really thrived. Like some people just say the market just took off, but was there something that you did that really helped you guys survive 2020?
Since I go away for January and February, for 2 years, I was doing Zoom listing appointments and Zoom buyer consultations already. So last year when we were forced to do it, that was really helpful. Even when this COVID goes away in the next few months, hopefully we're going to see herd immunity in the next few months. I'm still going to do Zoom listing appointments and Zoom buyer consults. I think it's a great way to be efficient, and buyers and sellers don't mind it now. So that's one thing that we did. And we just were very empathetic. I mean, I spent Friday texting for 3 hours, my past clients over 3 years of transactions, just saying, hey, Aaron, just thinking about you. Hope you're staying warm and staying safe. Just, keep in touch. Nothing about real estate. I do that for hours a month, staying in touch with my past clients, just sending them those texts out.
That was a big thing we talked about early on in COVID, was just like the, hey, how are you text, like just to check in. How about one thing that you learned in 2020? It could be personal, it could be business, could be anything. Something that, I learned a lot in 2020. I learned that mayors and governors are more powerful than presidents. There's lots of fun stuff that came out. What's one thing that you learned in 2020?
Well, along your lines, I learned that depending on your political belief, you might be a slot car and believe everything on that side without thinking with your own head. And my wife and I have made a point, no matter who we believe in should be the president, you got to think through it on your own and be thoughtful and not just go along with the program. I think that's the quickest way to disaster on either side to do that.
Yeah.
So it's everything's so divisive. So that's one of the reasons we have our group. It's fun, real low key, no bullying, no weird stuff. I just want to have nice, happy relationships. And I think that's what's allowed us to succeed over time. And I think we just have to be, so many people got hammered. It's easy for us as realtors to talk about how successful we are and how many homes we're selling. A lot of people got hurt last year. I mean, would you have ever thought that in a pandemic where everything got shut down, that the housing market would survive?
No.
I know dentists that went out of business, man. Yeah. I know an surgeon who went out of business because he couldn't do any elective surgery.
I went to a movie this week. They released a brand new Disney movie. I went with my wife and kids, went to the movie theater. First time back in the movie theater. Well, maybe I would say second or third time. First time back in Austin, Texas. Family's so excited. This big old giant theater. Our family of 6 were the only people in the theater on the day that a new Disney movie got released. And I was thinking, God, AMC is, I don't know when they get to come back, because if you can't get more than one family in a theater on opening day of a Disney movie, like, man, that is That is tough. So how about number one way an agent can succeed in 2021? So coming up this year, like what's the one thing, if you're going to say, hey, what's one thing I can focus on, Will, to succeed this year? What would it be?
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm doing some Facebook ads through HomeSnap and also with Grant Wise with Whitley. He's a great young man. He is. But I think the biggest thing is just, I'm afraid to even say it. Just go through your contact list on your phone and start. Tom Ferry says it. Start at the back and just start reaching out to people. You're going to find someone, that big ball of energy that we call the housing market, that's just spinning around like on the old Tom and Jerry cartoons where they're just spinning around like this and hairpins are flying out. That's the housing market. If you talk to enough people, you're going to run into someone that wants to jump into that ball. And it's really not that hard. We can be transactional agents and go find leads, or we can just try to be efficient and have the largest network of people that we possibly can. And a lot of that can be done right on your phone just by shooting a text or making a phone call. And this time of year especially, and don't mention real estate, just check in with someone. You're going to find somebody and they say, oh yeah, my sister wants to move. That's what happens to me every time I text or call my past clients.
Yeah. How about last question? Any predictions for the end of the year? What's anything that's going to happen? Anything that you're thinking might happen that you're counting on?
I'm afraid to make any predictions because none of us could have predicted 2020. I'm just trying to keep my eye on the ball, do what I'm good at, stay in my lane, and don't take anything for granted.
Dude, I tell you what, that your predictions turned into the way someone can survive in 2021 right there. Focus, not take an eye on the ball. Don't take anything for granted. I love what you just finished with there, Will. Will, I'm so glad that you and I have continued to keep up since the last time you were on the show. Last time you were here, we had so many people listen to your episode. So many people reach out with questions. It turned out so good. I'm sure that's going to happen again this time. Will Penney, everybody, when you go look for him, it's Will. That part's easy. Penney, Penney. He told you he's all over, Instagram, all over Facebook, obviously with social media out there, crushing in Ohio. Will, any final thoughts?
No, you're great. I love your podcast. That's my final thought. I listen to it every week. You do. I was worried when you took over from Pat. Man, you're crushing it. You do a great job.
Well, thanks so much. Thank you for that. That makes me feel really good. Pat had some huge shoes for us to fill out here.
I just listened to him on another one and they're like, well, how can we reach you, Pat? He goes, you can't. He did
that on purpose.
Email address.
Yeah. He's like, there's no way to find me anymore with what I'm doing. Pat is still a great buddy. The only time I get to see him is at Go Abundance events and he only makes it to some of those now. So
your podcast is yours, and there's a couple of others, but your podcast is just one of because you get such a great variety of realtors out there. And if people listen to it every week and they just implement a few things, especially the agents aren't afraid to share specifics. Like my wife accuses me of over helping. I just want people to succeed. It's not that hard. You just have to stay focused and not spend all your money on leads, and just remember right in front of your nose, the people you can have a business.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Will. Thanks for coming on. Real Estate Rockstars, thanks for listening. All right, Real Estate Rockstars, this is Aaron Muchastegui jumping in again to thank you for listening to the show. Hopefully you guys loved listening to that one. And I want to make sure that you know about all of the extra resources that we have. And also, we need your help. They say podcasts are free. You get to listen to podcasts for free. But what is the cost of that podcast? I would say if I could beg you to pay anything for that podcast, I would say the cost of the podcast is going and giving a review. So whether you download it on Google or Apple or YouTube or anywhere else, please go give us a review. Say what you liked, what you didn't like. It helps us get better guests. The more reviews, the higher we get in the rankings. Right now, we are the biggest podcast out there for real estate agents, and we want to keep that spot because we know there's lots of podcasts out there. So go give us a review. Also, be sure to go to hibandigital.com. If you liked any of the resources that those real estate agents talked about, we've got a huge video vault of those resources for free. Every penny that comes on the podcast that we interview, they give us something that helps them get their deals or helps them work with their clients, and we put that in the toolbox in our vault for you. So go to hibandigital.com and you can get it. If you're looking for real estate education, Go to rebusuniversity.com. We have all sorts of courses in there to help agents succeed in real estate. How to get the listing, how to negotiate deals, how to become an investor, all sorts of different stuff. rebusuniversity.com. And if you want to chat with me, go find me on Instagram. And if you come find me on Instagram, you can send me messages. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. We try to put a bunch of content out there too. You can find me in 2 different places. It's at rerockstars.com for our Real Estate Rockstars page, or at aaronandmuchastegui.com for my personal Instagram page, where I can chat with you about all sorts of different things. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon.